the Oculus Quest 2 is just around the corner. And in fact, there's a ton of evidence that points towards the Oculus Quest 2 being released in just a few days. So, without any further ado, here is everything we know about the most exciting VR headset in 2020. Okay, so the Oculus Quest 1, yes, these are optional headphones. I know they look silly, so I'm just gonna remove these for this video. But anyways, the Oculus Quest 1 was definitely in my top 3 favorite tech devices of all time, and it still is, right alongside the original iPhone and the Galaxy Fold. You can watch my full review of the Oculus Quest 1 right here, but long story short, I was a massive fan. Like, I've had about 5 in total, that's because a few of them ended up being returned or replaced, and I even gave 1 to each of my team members for Christmas. It was that good. And the reason why it was so unique was because this was the world's very first fully wireless 3 degrees of freedom VR headset. Now, we've had wireless VR headsets before, such as these ones. So this is the Samsung Gear VR version 3, this is the version 1, this is the Google Daydream VR, we also had the Google Cardboard, and quite a few other VR headsets, mobile VR headsets that you can, find loads of them on Amazon today. But you see, the problem with these headsets is that you can only look around, so up, down, left, and right. And that's it. More advanced VR headsets such as the HTC Vive or the Oculus Rift, they did allow you to literally move around the environment, but you needed to have some sensors attached in your room, which wasn't too great, and you also needed a direct connection to your PC, which itself required a very powerful GPU in order to drive that VR headset. But the Oculus Quest, however, this one, was literally the best of both worlds, and that's because it had the wireless portability of all the other mobile headsets, but it also had 6 degrees of tracking, the one that the more advanced headsets also had, but without the need to have sensors in your living room. Instead, the Oculus Quest actually used actual cameras on the unit in order to track the environment. Okay, so the Oculus Quest must have had a very powerful processor, right? Well, not really. To my surprise, the Oculus Quest, which only came out last year in 2019 by the way, came with a Snapdragon 835 processor, which, if you're familiar with this chip, it's actually the exact same processor that you would find in the 2017 Samsung Galaxy S8. Now, it was indeed overclocked, and it also had an active fan inside. But I was still blown away seeing that this very weak smartphone processor was actually capable of rendering the games in 2K resolution, at pretty decent settings as well, while also mapping out the environment and doing all the tracking in the background, and then even streaming to Google Chromecast all at the same time, so this was incredible. And Oculus, which eventually got bought by Facebook, released a ton of massive updates to the Quest. Updates that added hand tracking and even finger tracking without the need to have the controller. We also had updates that added AR support and even updates that allowed you to connect a USB Type-C cable from the Quest to your PC and literally use the Quest as a PC VR and get much higher graphics that way. And we actually got, the way it worked is that there was a video stream going from the PC onto the Oculus Quest. That was really, really impressive. So it was pretty clear that Facebook was committed in making the world's best VR headsets even better. Earlier this year, we started seeing some reports that Facebook was indeed working on the 2nd generation Oculus Quest. Nikkei, a fairly reliable source in terms of leaks in general, reported that a new Facebook Oculus VR headset has entered mass production around July. Not only that, but we now have confirmation that the original Oculus Quest, this one, has indeed been discontinued, with a lot of retailers pulling it off the shelves, very likely in response to an imminent release of the Quest 2. Okay, so all of this sounds really exciting, so now let's take a step back and take a look at some of the complaints that users had regarding the first Oculus Quest and see which one of these would actually be fixed with the 2nd generation. By far, the main complaint that users had was the comfortability. The Oculus Quest 1 was extremely front-heavy, and because of these extremely flimsy Velcro straps, it just made the Oculus Quest 1 feel very uncomfortable to wear, after even just 10 to 15 minutes of use. And because of this, users have started tweaking their Quest and even replacing the original strap with one that was made for the HTC Vive Pro instead. Yeah, I know, not an ideal solution, as you did have to buy the strap and you also had a chance of breaking your Quest in the process. But you know, it was a solution indeed. Okay, so how will this strap be improved? Well, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, usually known for his extremely accurate Apple leaks, also reported that a new Oculus Quest headset is in the works, and that it will be 10 to 15% smaller, while also being around 20% lighter. Not only that, but according to Mark, a lot of the fabric on the sides will actually be removed and replaced with plastic instead, in order to make it more sturdy. And then the Velcro straps that we do have now, they will apparently be replaced by elastic straps. All of this to just make it easier to put on, easier to adjust, and also significantly more comfortable than the Quest 1. Now, the second complaint that users had was in terms of the speakers. So like I've said, I've gone through 5 different Oculus Quest units, mainly because I actually had some issues with almost every single one of them. And one of those issues was the fact that the speakers kept blowing out and failing on every single one of my units. Now, personally, I do use headphones all the time, but whenever some friends came over or I went to their place and brought my Quest, we actually just played using the internal speakers with the volume literally maxed out. So, and cast the footage to the phone. So that's probably why it broke, even after just a few plays. But still, it happened on basically every single unit. And I've read about this happening to loads of other users online. Now, luckily, we have seen a few reports that the speakers will be improved with the Oculus Quest 2. Not just in terms of the overall durability, but also in terms of the sound, so the volume and the bass. So that's great. Number 3, we have the graphics. And speaking of graphics, do you guys like these new graphics that we've made, such as this really cool subscribe to callouts? By the way, they're actually not new, but I wanted to just find an excuse to tell you to subscribe. So there you go. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And you want to see more in-depth tech videos like this one, hopefully is. Now, when it comes to the Oculus Quest 1 graphics, I wouldn't say that they were actually bad by any means. Like, sure, they weren't as high-end as you would find on an actual PC VR, as that Snapdragon 835 processor just isn't capable of outputting those graphics. But there have been some games that were extremely well optimized for the Quest, and those games absolutely looked incredible. So we had games such as Red Matter, The Room, Vader Immortal, and like I said, those games were just masterpieces in terms of optimization and graphics on the Oculus Quest. So I think the graphics were actually very impressive on the Quest, considering the limited power that developers had to work with. So just imagine what the Quest could do if it actually had a more powerful processor. Qualcomm has actually demoed their brand new Qualcomm XR2 chip, which is a processor specifically made for VR headsets. This provides a very big leap in CPU and GPU performance over the Snapdragon 835, with supports for 3K by 3K resolution panels at 90Hz refresh rates, as well as even 8K 360 video support. Now, Mark Gurman did mention in his reports that a Quest 2 would feature a 90Hz display, as opposed to the 72Hz display that we got on the original Quest. So this XR2 chip from Qualcomm is indeed looking like a potential, or actually the best candidate in terms of which processor we would be getting in the Oculus Quest 2. And I should probably mention that the XR2 also supports 5G, which would be amazing to have on a VR headset. Like, imagine just going, I don't know, just out and about and then playing online in VR with your friends, or, you know, just streaming a movie from YouTube wirelessly. How amazing would that be? Oh, and by the way, the XR2 is actually very similar in terms of the architecture to the Snapdragon 865, just more specialized on VR and features such as background scene rendering. So if this processor was like a processor for smartphones, this would be the most powerful chip in a non-Apple device. Yes, this is even more powerful overall than the Snapdragon 865 Plus. The XR2 is also optimized for true mixed reality. So that means AR and VR as well. And as some of you might have known, we actually got AR support to some extent on the original Quest. So we actually got an update recently that enabled that, and we made a full video discussing this. And this is also an early look at those upcoming Apple AR glasses. So it is looking quite likely that the Quest 2 would actually feature regular cameras, rather than those black and white cameras that we got on the Quest 1, in order to improve the AR capabilities of the headset even more. Like, imagine how insane would that be, like a high resolution, just 4 high resolution color cameras because the AR mode on this is already breathtaking. Like, imagine how insane that would be on the Quest 2. And finally, the final issue that users have had with the original Oculus Quest was OLED Burn-In. And I've actually had this issue on all of my 5 Oculus Quest units. So essentially, because you have an OLED display, which is already very susceptible to burn-in, and you also have those 2 massive lenses which essentially act like a magnifying glass, if you left your Quest in direct sunlight or even in just a very bright environment, you could easily cause burn-in, like permanent burn-in, to the screen. Now, the screen itself will be staying OLED with the Quest 2, but the lenses are said to be getting an improvement. We've actually had a few leaked press images of what is claimed to be an Oculus Quest 2 unit from Twitter leaker Walking Cat. Now, the first thing that you'll probably notice in these ones is that the lenses, they look quite a bit different than the ones that we got on the Oculus Quest 1. They seem to be larger, and considering that Oculus has been using the exact same lenses, the Super Libra G lenses since 2018, so they've used that on the Oculus Go, the Oculus Quest 1, and also the Oculus Rift S, it is a possibility that they will be integrating some fresh new lenses in the Oculus Quest 2. Not only that, but it seems like the IPD slider that allows you to adjust the distance between the lenses in order to match the distance between your eyes and therefore make the image look better, that seems to be missing from this render on the Oculus Quest 2. Now, the Quest 1 did get a recent update where you can indeed see a digital slider with the exact amount that you've adjusted the lenses to. So it could just be that the Oculus Quest 2 will only have the lenses adjustable in the settings, and you wouldn't really be getting any slider, so everything would be done through software. So that's pretty much everything in terms of massive changes. So now let's take a look at those leaked press images and see what else we can actually notice. So aside from the all new white color, it seems like the cameras, all of them, have been repositioned, especially the ones on the top. So they're now facing more towards the ceiling, which is great. This should give us a wider range of tracking. We can also see that the sideband is indeed made out of plastic, well, mostly, just like in the leak, which should provide us with more stability. And then we can also see that the top band does indeed still have a Velcro strap, and then the controller has also been slightly redesigned. Not massively, but it looks to me that the side button is quite a bit bigger, and then the circle surrounding it where, you know, the IR sensors are, that seems to be bigger as well, likely to improve comfortability. In fact, Mark Gurman did actually say this in his Bloomberg report, that a controller would be redesigned in order to make it more comfortable. And a driver for the new Jedi controller, this is apparently the code name for the 2nd generation controller, seems to show that the tracking, the haptics, and also the finger sensing would all be improved. But wait, Daniel, what if these renders are actually fake? Well, in that case, here's some actual photos of the Quest 2. So these were actually posted on Twitter by the user Walking Cat again, which unfortunately got banned, so they got reposted by PixelKZ2. But there we go, these are genuine photos that seem to show exactly what we saw in those leaked press renders. So a white headset with the strap changes that we've seen reported before, including the new location of the cameras, which does seem to, again, match perfectly with what we've seen before in those press renders. And we've also made a concept of our own based on all these leaks. So here we go. This is our concept. This is what we managed to achieve. And I gotta say, I don't really mind having the Oculus Quest 2 in white. So, you know, I won't be looking at the color of the headset anyways when I'm in VR, so I don't really mind the color. I do think it looks quite nice, even though I still think I would pick a black one if I could choose. I mean, at the end of the day, all I care about is really just improved performance, mostly improved rendering resolution, which is a given thanks to that new processor. But do let me know in the comments what you guys want to see in the next Oculus Quest. Are you even excited? By the way, if you can still find the Oculus Quest 1 in stock, then this should go down in price pretty heavily. So link in the description if you want to buy one of these, the Oculus Quest 1 while stock lasts. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more tech videos, more in-depth tech stuff like this one hopefully was. Turn on notifications so that you get notified. If you want to support the channel, definitely consider becoming a member. And you also get those really cool badges next to your name that actually evolve the longer you've been a member for. But yeah, this has been pretty much it. I'm crazy excited for this device. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This has been ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.